Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is your asynchronous lesson, I believe, right? Okay, so proportions. So I did the first one in our Jamboard thing. So my idea was that I would show you again, and I'm gonna sort of. I feel like maybe I have space. I'm not going to have space. You should know that by now, at least. 6 divided by 2 is a number, by the way. I just want to say that out loud. So I'm dividing by p. And we're going to talk about SADMAP, so reverse order of operations. So if I'm dividing by p, I need to multiply by p. So some of you am expecting to do cross multiplication. That's fine. So p divided by p is the number 1, which is really convenient. So then when I rewrite, like if I go to my next line, I have p times 6 divided by 2 equals 4. Period 6. P6 divided by 2. So the other thing we can do if we're dividing by 2 is we can multiply both sides by 2. So those are going to, again, create the number 1 where I want it to be. And then my next line is, so I'm going to write it as 6p. 8. Here we're multiplying. So I'm sort of going to be in my division and multiplication for all of these because they're proportions. But next week and this week we'll see stuff where it's more complicated. So same thing, I'm like, okay, is there anything to multiply and divide? I have to get that 6 away from the p, so I'm going to divide both sides by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. P equals 8/6. Okay. That's not very fun. 8/6, or what would that be, 4/3? Sure. Why not? So that's number 1. Yeah. So if you look at number 2 is also a similar little friend here. What if I make this smaller? Okay, let's do that. And then here, I think I can move that over. Wow, amazing. Okay, so let's look at number 2. So 4 divided by k equals 8/2. So one thing that I didn't do on the last one, and I'm looking at some work here. 4 divided by 2. Oh, it looks like you did. This is the number 4. 8 divided by 2 is 4. It is. So what we could do is this. It might not always be something like that. It might not be a whole number. And so just be mindful of that. So yeah. Okay, but no matter what, I'm going to have to multiply by k to get it out of the denominator. So then I have 4 equals 4k. And maybe you're like, well, I already know the answer. Please show it. Divide by 4, divide by 4. So we are multiplying and we are dividing. So 1 equals k. Yeah? Okay, so when I'm solving proportions, I multiply and divide. That's sort of my main 2 operations that I'm like having to do right now. All right, let's look at number 3. So oops, I wanted a highlighter. Number 3 is different because, why? Well, because 3. So the variable is in the numerator now. It's up top. 8/7. So here's an example of where I can't do what I did with number 2 because I didn't have my vinculum. It's not pretty. I don't know what that is. It's a decimal of sorts, and I'm not really interested in that. So I'm going to use algebra. So if I'm dividing by 4, I want to multiply by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. So then I'm left with n equals 4 times 8 is 32, I think. Yeah. Final answer. That's a decimal. I don't really... Maybe I should look it up. Maybe you all are going to give me a decimal. I don't know. Hold on. I'm using my calculator. Ooh, I don't love... So when I divide by 7, it doesn't give me like a nice decimal. That's a 7. Oh my gosh. I can't write 7s today. Okay. Cool. Got it. Brilliant. Let's do a couple more and then I maybe will leave the rest for you. Why don't I like just highlight these different colors to make it easier on myself? Because that would be a good thing to do. Well, 2 blues in a row. Okay, let's look at number 4. Number 4. 5/3 is set equal to x divided by 4. Okay, so same thing as number 3. I really actually only have to multiply once, which is amazing. I love that. So if I'm dividing by 4, I have to undo division by multiplying. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So I guess I want purple again. It's like the colors on this iPad are all that I have. And then 4 times 5 is 20, 20/3. Oh, I should know what that is off the top of my brain, but I don't. It's 6.66 repeating. 6.66 with a bar. Don't be worried about that. It's fine. Okay. Part 5, number 5. Same thing as these other ones. I'm going to do part 5, I guess right here. M divided by 5 is equal to 7/2. You could make that a decimal. In my experience as a human on the planet Earth, decimals do not always help me in math. Sometimes you actually want to have a fraction. You know, it's crazy. It's just weird. 5 divided by 5 is 1. M equals times only the top, 35/2, which is some type of decimal that I will tell you it is 17.5. Boop. The fraction's fine though, frankly. Okay, let's squeeze in one more. And then I'm going to use the next page because I figured I would run out of space. 7 divided by 4 is set equal to r divided by 5. So same thing, I just have one multiplication to do because I only have this one division that needs to be undone. 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So go back to my little blue. And remember, I'm multiplying only the top. 35/4 equals r. 35 divided by 4 is also a terminating decimal that is easy to write, so I'll just write that. Cool. All right, let's look at the next page. So this next page. Oh, see, it's right here. I thought about that. I thought it through. All right, so let's do big highlighting. Purple, I love purple. All right, so let's talk about 7. So this is where things get a little bit more complicated, and that's okay. So if I'm dividing by x, so I want to like say that, need to multiply by x. So let's get a different color. Both sides, x, x. So what happens is that x divided by x is 1. So I'm going to have 5, and I'm going to have 7x divided by 6. This is a time where if cross multiplication works for you and you are stressed because we are in a pandemic and we are not at school, please go for it. But usually in school, I would sort of try to dissuade you to convince you not to use cross multiplication. I don't love it, but that's okay. I'm just one person. All right, so same thing. I was dividing by 6, so I needed to multiply by 6. Here I'm multiplying by 7, and so I need to divide by 7. So please notice that I'm not coming up with like crazy new numbers or anything. Like the numbers are all pretty much what they were. I don't know what this is though. 4.28. Sure. Why not? Okay. So this next one is just the same. Literally. It's the same as the other one. I'm going to write it though, so we have a little bit more space. 5n. So here I'm dividing by 5 times n. Oops. So I need to write it. Need to multiply by 5n. So whatever is in the denominator, I need to multiply by that to create a giant factor of 1. Dun, 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 dun. Something nice is going to happen here, and you're going to love to see it. Okay, so 5n divided by 5n is the number 1. Please, I'm going to use a different color. Do you see this happening? So here's a 5, and here's a 5. I know, it's magical. We love math. So I have 6n, because the n is still there, right? And then I have 2. And then I'm going to divide by 6, divide by 6. 2 6, or 1/2, or sorry, 1/3. 1/3, which is 0.33. Okay, how did that work? Well, I know it was kind of quick. So what's happening here when I have 5n times 6 divided by 5? What was that, 2? So maybe you saw this. Maybe you don't need to listen to me right now. This cancel. The other thing you could do, or maybe you didn't notice that, and that's, again, whatever. So maybe you're like, okay, 5 times 6 is 30. Oh my gosh. 5 times 6 is 30. 30n divided by 5 equals 2. Right? So like you could follow that step. But ultimately, there's a whole number living in that rational number. So same thing, maybe you just multiply by 5 because you're on like autopilot, it's late, you're tired, it's been a long day of online school. And then divide by 30, divide by 30. That's also going to get you n equals 1/3. It is. So I hope that helped. I hope I wasn't assuming too much that you like already knew. Multiplication, and division undo each other. They're inverses, and we'll talk about that in our inverses unit. So if you have a multiplication situation, you have to divide. If you have division, you have to multiply. Okay, bye.